and paste so bright, so neat. Folding papers, color sweet. Digital dreams with just one click. Craft along, get your fix.
All right, hello everybody. It's Jody from Life by Design, and welcome to today's episode where we are going to go over how to create our baby lollipops. Great for showers, great for favors, and a great addition for baby gifts. All right, I'm going to set these aside and let's get started with the assembly. And I have here the baby body, the base, and we're going to put together the boy first, and then if we have time, we're going to put the girl together. That'll be quick. We're going to just throw her together and put the bonnet on her so that you could see the difference between the boy and the girl's bonnet. All right, so the first thing I have is, first thing you're going to get is the base to the baby, and we want to fold this, so you're going to need a scraper or a bone folder tool, and then just bend the score lines there and crease it. Okay, I already had one folded, and we're ready to put the body on. Now, these are slightly different. They're not exactly symmetrical, so that because the baby's head is slightly tilted, so it's made to fit inside of the baby's head. So before you do anything, just do a little check which side this goes on, because you want it to fit perfectly. The circle should fit, and then the baby's neck should fit in there as well. Now, for the face, you actually have 3 pieces here, okay? And they just get layered on top of each other. But you want to make sure that you're putting this in the right direction, because if you don't, then the face will not line up properly. Or if it does, you can see I have the eyes lined up, but you're going to see some of the black coming out from below this, and the chin is not lining up. All right, so before you start gluing, just make sure you get that chin lined up and the eyes should fit perfectly. Okay, all right, now I have this the way it is, and the second check I'm going to do is when the body is on there, then I'm making sure I'm putting this on in the correct side. All right, so I'll actually use the white one because that'll be easier to see. You want to make sure that there is no, once this is lined up, the image should fit directly in here, and the chin is lining up with that groove, the circle is lining up, and the face is lining up. So that's just really important to get done before we start gluing. So I'm going to start by gluing this body on even before I do the face, so that I know that this is the front that I'm working with. Okay, so let me flip this over, and before I do that, you can see that I shadowed this just to give it a little emphasis and pizzazz. And then what I'm doing with this is I'm just taking, obviously this brush doesn't go with this one, but I'm dipping this in the ink pad, and then I'm just kind of coming around here and swirling on the inside to give it a little shading, and that just gives it a little more professional look and adds a little oomph to that. All right, so let me flip this over and add my glue. So I'm adding glue to the outside to start off with, and I like to outline this so that it stays longer and it really is secure. So I did put a lot of glue on here, but I'm using this fine tip, and with the fine tip, it really puts more of dots and dashes throughout here. So let me slide this back over. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm lining this up with the first arm on the left, making sure that fits, that it's fitting down below here, and then fitting up at the top. All right. So when I have it into place, now I'm going to just secure it and commit to that. All right, so there we go. The first one fits perfectly. So now let's worry about the front face, okay? And I'm going to first put the black piece onto the white. So I'm flipping this over to add my glue. When I add the glue, I'm going to once again start with outlining it and then slowly go in adding my dots and dashes. All right, so I have this all glued, flipping this over. So I'm lining up the chin first, okay? And once I get that chin lined up, it should fall right into place, but I just want to make sure, so I'm going to look on the back side and make sure that I don't really see any black shining through here, okay? Perfect, okay. Now, next, once again, I already flipped this over. I'm doing just a double check. So the glue is going to go on this side, because if I glue this area, then I may get glue shining through in areas that I don't want. So again, the one with more holes, that's what you're going to add the glue to. Starting with the outline and then just filling it in. All right, so I'm going to line the chin up once again, and it should fall into place, but I'm really going to focus on where those eyelashes shine through and that they're even, okay? So when you're using liquid glue, you have a little wiggle room that you can move it around slightly. And then I'm going to look on the back and I can see, I don't see any skin poking through. So this is fitting perfectly. Now it's ready to go on here, and it's going to fit right into the groove of the neck like a puzzle piece. Okay. So for this, I can easily just put glue right on all of the white area. All right, so I have the back glued, and just like a puzzle piece, I'm going to fit it right into that groove of the chin and plop that down. Now I'm going to do a peek on the other side and make sure I don't see any white shining through that. And it should fit perfect. If you're putting this on correctly, it should fit perfect with no problems. All right, now I can put on the outfit on the back. And I'm not as concerned about this one because it should fit great in there and I don't have to match up any kind of face. Now, we're going to add some little hair to this. This one is a boy. For the boys, I like to put the little, what we call water spout going up. You can do that for the girls as well, but you can put this down if you like it down, kind of off to the side. It doesn't really matter. Any look is cute. I'm doing for the little boy, I want to do a little water spout here. So for the hair, I'm just going to flip this over and then just put a little on the edge. And then just stick that right on the top there, and it's super cute. Okay, we'll let that dry. For the ears, these are the ear shadows. I'm just going to put a dot of glue on each area. If I had my jewel pick, I could easily pick these up, but unfortunately it's across the room on the other table. So I'm just stuck using my fingers and doing the best I can. All right, so I got the little shadow on for the ears. Now, one of the last things that we can do to decorate this is his feet need to go on the front, because if you notice, I want you to look at the back for a minute. When you're looking at the back, you can tell this is a back for two reasons. It doesn't have a face, but the legs look like they're in the front. So this looks like his little behind. All right, when you turn this over, you don't want the bottom to look the same. So you want to add some legs in the front so it actually looks like they're coming out of the outfit, and it'll look like he's got a little onesie on. So that's the look that we're going for. So to do that, we're going to flip this over and I'm going to add some glue to the feet here. And I'm just going to line these feet up at the toes and let it drop. All right, so I'm going to do the same on the other one. I'm flipping it over, adding glue, and lining up the feet. All right, there we go. Okay, now the other part is we have this little handle. Okay, you can use this, you don't have to use it. The purpose of this is to make it look like this circle here when you have a lollipop poking through. And I'm going to just put a lollipop in here for a second. When the lollipop's poking through, we're going to add this handle and make it look like a rattle. okay? And then you can tilt this hands down like he's holding it. You could put the rattle any way you want. I kind of like it looking like he's holding it there. And then you can put a bow on it as well, all right? So that is the rattle. Again, if you don't like that, you can leave it off. It's an option. So I'm just going to put this on the handle part of this. I'm not going to do it all. And then just position where you want this. Lay that down. And we're going to do the little bow on here. Okay, now there's one last thing we're going to do. Actually, two last things. The first thing is we're going to put this insert in, and then we're going to add, and this is optional, but it shouldn't be, we're going to add some Velcro to this. Let me lay that aside and let's focus on the insert. The insert is really important. It's going to go on the inside, but first I want to take those score lines, if you can see them, and I'm going to fold them. You can also use a scraper tool or a bone folder, but you don't have to. It's just important that you bend it enough for it to sit upwards like this. And then you're going to glue it inside the center here. So the purpose of this is going to do two things. It's going to hold the lollipop in place so that it doesn't shake, and that it raises it up and gives the lollipop something to lay on. Now, the way you're going to put this on is you're just going to glue the sides and then attach it to the sides of here. So I'm going to add some glue to the first side, and I'm going to lay this in here, and I'm centering it, okay? So I want that hole to be centered inside there, and then I'm going to fold this up. Now, this insert's smaller for two reasons, because I don't want it to be seen outside of the holes, and if I made it any larger, then you would see it, all right? So the first one I'm just gonna get nice and secure. Once it's secure, you can see how it's sitting, okay? I'm just gonna add glue then to the other side. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm putting this side, this edge, where the score line is, flush against the side. So when I put this down, it's in the score line. It should fit perfectly. And then I'm going to fold this end up. Now, it's going to be hard for you to get your fingers in there, but it needs to fit flush on the bottom. So you're going to have to kind of hold this a little secure for a minute and make sure that it's sitting flush, because you don't want it crooked either, okay? If you want to hold the side, you can stick a pen. I'm going to just grab a pen and stick a pen in there, just to hold that side secure against it, okay? You don't have to do that, but it does help. Now that I have this in here, this lollipop can fit inside. It should be able to go through both holes. It's still wet, so I don't want to harm this, but it should fit in here. Now, we have two different types of lollipops. We have these round ones, and I want you to know offhand, they are much thicker around here. You might actually have to take a scissors and cut off some of this, okay? Or you're gonna have to really push it through those holes. And then the other ones, you can also get these flat ones at Party City. I actually like to use these better. I think they are classier, but this gives it that rattle look. So I'm gonna just put it in here so you could see. So when it closes, and you can put it like this if you want, you can actually stick it up like this and make the rattle go through, make it really look like the rattle, okay? But it will fit perfectly on both sides, and it's gonna fit really tight, okay? You can, if you don't wanna put one of these, you can find one of those candies that fits right on the inside, and this should sit upright when it's closed. It will balance itself out and sit upright, okay? The third option are these flat lollipops, and you can get them in all different colors. I just happen to have a white one right now, and they fit nicely in here as well. And then just give a little extra color, so you can focus on color as a gender reveal or something. All right, so let's set the lollipops aside for a minute, and we're gonna focus on putting the Velcro together. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach this. And then once it's attached and secure, I'm going to peel the sides off of this. I have glue on my finger. And let's set that aside. And what I'm going to do is set this just smack at the top there in the center, or as centered as I can get it. When I do that, I'm going to line up his little ears so that I get this right and that everything's lining up. And then I'm going to give it a little pinch and just secure that. Okay, once you pinch it together and it's all good to go, then you can, the first time, be really gentle and then take it off, and that's going to loosen up and pull some of the threads so that it's easier to open and close. But next time it should close evenly because it is in the proper space. Okay, so you can put it where you needed it to. Then you can now put your lollipop in there, whichever kind you want, the round kind, the flat kinds. Put that in there and you have your baby ready to go. So nice and secure and super, super cute. Now, before we're done here, let's just put together the girl really fast. We're going to just speed this up so that you can see, and then I'm going to focus on the bonnet. I'm not going to put the insert on yet because I want to put the bonnet on. All right, now we have these pieces. Let me set this aside, and I really want to focus on the bonnet. Okay, so I shadowed the back of the bonnet, so when this goes on, this is the back of the head, so it's going to go back here. Now in the front of the head, this is where the bonnet's going to go. So these two pieces will get glued together, and it's going to go up front. So I'm only going to glue it to her head here. All right, so when I add the glue to this, I'm only going to add an outline. Now let's put these two pieces together first. And the way I'm going to do that is flip this over. Now before I do it, I want to make sure it matches up, and it's going to match up basically by the strings at the bottom. All right, so if I know that these strings match, then I know I can turn this over and glue this side. So I'm just circling glue around these holes. Let's put this aside here. To put this together, I'm going to take these strings and I'm going to line up this left string first. Then I'm going to line up the right string. And if you line up the strings perfectly, the rest will fall right into place. If you're using liquid glue, you have a little wiggle room to kind of push it around, but this fell right into place. Now, this is going to go on her head and cover her ears. When we do this, I'm going to turn this over so you can see what it looks like. There's a lot of this sticking out, so it's going to kind of glue to her ears and just the top of her head. So when we glue this, we're only going to put a stream of glue here and on her ears. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to glue her ears, and notice, unlike the little boy, I didn't put the shadow in the ears because her ears are going to get glue for the bonnet. And then I'm just going to glue around the edges. So when I line this up, I'm really focusing on that edge, that my strings are even, and that it covers the ears, because it's not going to make sense if you have a bonnet on her head but her ears pop out. All right, so we can turn this over so you can see the ears are being covered. Okay, now for this, if you want, you can cut out two pieces and put this together. I don't really like to. I like to, keep it where there's one bonnet and then you're going to have it and it's going to go together like this. So it's an imaginary piece, okay? So we're going to line up the arms for a minute, and what the bonnet's going to do, I'm going to flip this over, it's going to be just a little bit higher than the actual lace part. So the yellow is the lace and the bonnet is going to go slightly higher. So when I flip this over, you can see where it sits. So I'm going to put it directly where it's covering, just slightly covering the top of her neck. So for this, when I add this, I'm going to really just add glue to the whole head, including the ears, the back of the ears, because it will cover this. So I'm just adding glue. So I'm going to lay this down right at the bottom. Now before I commit, it's just laying there. I didn't flatten it. I'm going to flip this over line up the hands, and you just want to be able to see that little bit at the top coming out, okay? So that's actually perfect. I'm going to focus on putting the little flower in her hair. But if you're doing a lot of these and you don't want to put a bonnet on, you can just, you know, stick a bow in the hair and make it match the outfit, and that can be your girl, okay? Or you can put a bow here and not have to do this flower that we're about to do, because the flower takes a little bit of time. So those are two other options, but I want to show you how to do the flower so that you know how to do it in case you want to use it. All right, so for this I'm going to use this bone folder, and notice that I did put some ink on here. I darkened the bottom one, and then I just darkened the edges or shadowed the edges of the upper ones. All right, and then you're going to have this circle. It matches with the bonnet, and it comes out the same color as the bonnet. So, but you can change it if you don't like it and you do a white bonnet, but you don't want a white circle. You can always just ink it whatever color you want. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bend these center petals up. All right, once you bend them up, then you're going to take your bone folder or a scraper tool, one of these, and you're going to, I'll do it with each of them so that you could see, you're going to put the petal in between your thumb and the scraper tool, okay? And you're just going to roll it backwards so that it bends and curves. So I'm going to do it with the bone folder because I think you can, it's smaller and I think you can see it a little bit better. But this is the same thing you do when you're curling a ribbon, except for you go shh, and it basically runs through your finger and the scissors or, you know, bone folder, whatever you're using, okay? So I'm just rolling this back, and I'm doing this slow so you can see this, but you can do this fairly quickly in seconds. And what this is doing is giving this a 3D, a curl, 3D appearance, so that when it sits, and I'll give you a sample, so when it sits up and gives it like a nice little 3D effect, okay? So we have one done. I'm gonna do the second one, so I'll do this a little quicker. So I'm just folding these back. And once they're bent up, then I'm going to curl them. All right, so I have these all curled, and what I'm going to first do is grab my glue and just add glue to the center. Then I'm going to take, so notice first, before I do this, I have a large, medium, and small. So I'm taking the large one on the bottom, and then I am, let me grab something that I can point with. Then I'm taking the top petal and I'm putting it between two of the bottom petals. So this top petal is going to sit in between the bottom two petals, okay? And then when I have the top petal in between that, it's going to naturally go on, do that on all sides because it's evenly created, and then I'm just going to smush that down. All right, so I'm going to do the same for the next one. I'm putting my swirl of glue, and I'm putting the top petal in between the two bottom petals. And the reason is this way it gives it depth, and you'll be able to see the petals all the way through there, okay? And then this will go right into the center, and it should fit nicely. Now let me glue this though first. Let me add some glue. And if this is not the color that you want, you can always just take some of this ink and then make it the color so it can match whatever outfit. Because you notice that I do have outfits on, you know, you can use pattern paper. You don't have to use just plain paper as I did, okay? All right, now this bow will go directly on whichever side you want. You know, I like it on the left side for some reason. I'm just going to glue the center of this, put it where you want it, hold it in place for just a second, and there you go. Okay, so we finished both babies, and they have their lollipops in them and are ready to go. If you'd like making these, please check out our baby carriage and other designs with this theme that can help spruce up your next baby showers or gift giving. Well, hopefully you had fun today, and I look forward to seeing you next time with another exciting creation to make together. Take care now. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Digital dreams with just one click. Craft along, get your fix.